Testing. Sitting on? Broadcasting to you live from his studio in New Jersey, originally from the great city of Toronto.
Welcome to another edition of the DJ Staples 93 Roundtable, live on Twitch with your host, DJ Staples 93.
Also featuring Juno Award winner and superstar, Simone Denny, Impressions DJ, Dan, and DJ George Andrew.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, live on Twitch. DJ Staples 93 Roundtable.
They were 30-13, and they still gassed the coach. Why? Well, as Trump would say, they're not strong on defense. They got to get better on defense.
So you can shut up now. Yeah. Because what you are is a big dummy.
Sure.
Okay? Say it. I'm a big dummy.
I'm a big dummy.
Okay.
The Chiefs were the better team that day. But honestly, I'm one of the few, I guess. I thought Allen was Superman. I thought he was the better quarterback. He had to carry that team by himself. Mahomes didn't. And Allen did, and you know what? Once again, it's just not enough.
I think Scotty still has some room on that ceiling. I think Scotty looks like he could be all that you want him to be coming out of Florida State.
He definitely has room. He's really impressed me with a lot of different things. I mean, his passing is off the charts. He sees the floor so well. He rebounds, he posts up, he can put the ball on the floor. The jump he made shooting the basketball has been impressive to me. I always tell the story. I remember Magic Johnson came into the NBA as the #1 pick. He couldn't shoot the ball. Within 6-7 months, he realized if he can't shoot the ball, he can't be Magic Johnson. And he became a decent shooter. He was a threat from three, a threat from the mid-range. And we've already seen, Scotty make that jump.
You don't think any less of me.
How could I think less?
What about me?
Nay.
What?
They've only got so much food for a couple of months.
Come on.
Really good point, Lee.
I'm wearing black today.
Good point, Lee Hart.
It's very slimming.
Thank you.
Like Ann Wilson from Heart.
Oh.
There you have it.
Unbelievable. It's Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. It's Monday. What is today's date? The 15th?
It is the 15th. We are halfway through April.
Thank goodness you're tuned to another edition of the DJ Staples 93 Roundtable. Although the channel says Dr. Staples MD, you can completely disregard that for a little while. We'll get a change back. So if we're live, you could be tuning in here on the Twitch, on our YouTube and Facebook as we speak, all at the same time, simultaneously. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Thank you and hello to you guys. Very excited about our guest here this evening, Danny Boy, and I'm going to tell you why. It's a little nerve-wracking because he's a professional, first of all. Mm-hmm. Like he does this for a living and he gets paid to do it. We do this because we love it and we love the people that watch.
Well, I personally thought I was getting paid and I was still waiting for my check in the mail, but
keep waiting, Stavros. But no, so but he's been around for quite a long time. 30 years he's been in broadcasting. I met him when I was a wee lad, probably of 17 or 18 years old. Like I said before, I did some time, if you will, at an old radio station. What's up, Retro Mix Toronto? I did some time at an old radio station called 99.9 CKFM. Was a cooperative student there for a little bit. Got lucky for a little while after and then booted, but that's neither here nor there. I met this gentleman. He was on the morning show at the time. And just what can I say? It's a things, the memories I hang on to because they've lasted this long. I've always had a great impression. Just good memories of being there. And because of this guy, one of the funniest guys. And it was kind of cool at the time because listening to him on the morning radio, and I'd be like, I know that guy. I mean, he barely knew me, but I knew him. Damn it. We were BFFs. So if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome into the round table, nice warm round of virtual applause. Give it up for Mr. Mike Richards, everybody. There he is, the pro.
Welcome, Mr.
What's up, sir?
Richards.
Virtual applause, people.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll take whatever I can get at this point. So I'm thrilled. And yeah, those were great days too. That was radio to me was a lot of fun. And when I look back at where I started, so that was 1050 Chum. That's the Waters family, and of course, as people know, that Chum was an extremely powerful radio company across the country. They're the ones who owned Much Music, as some would know, and an incredible legacy. And so the fact that I really got my start there was amazing. So to go to 99.9, to go to CKFM, I was kind of like, I was going from I was going onto the dark side, right? Because that was sort of their competitor. And of course, they had the powerful Chum FM and 104.5 and Roger, Rick, and Marilyn, that kind of stuff. But I wasn't really sure what I was doing. I was just kind of doing a whole bunch of impressions and working with Jerry Forbes and the unbelievably talented Carol Alexander. So that was that was some fun times, even though I really didn't know what I was doing. I mean, they were like, hey, talk like Pee Wee, stuff like that. So it was weird to me. I was kind of doing it for but I really didn't know what it took me a long time to really figure out really what it was, who I was, and what I wanted to be. And people say, well, what kind of airy fairy, hippie finding yourself? Well, I think the biggest problem is trying to be yourself. Like not finding what the character is going to be. And look, some guys do. Some guys actually end up just figuring out this fake guy. But I'm the opposite, which is why that show's called Raw Mike Richards, and it's always been considered raw. Simply because I'm really not that afraid to tell you almost every awful thing that I've done or any sort of real opinion. I'm not going to do what people have that perceived hot take. Like in sports, it was like the hot take. A lot of consultants coming up talking to the U.S. almost exclusively out of Seattle. A lot of great guys, but they always wanted me to go over the top on my feelings on certain things. I'm like, aside from last call. Nothing really bothers me. I really, I don't. You want me to be mad about it? I'll get mad about a point spread. I got it making a free throw, but I'm not that animated, honestly.
Yeah. Now, from what I recall, and we'll get to current day stuff, but to go back to the CKFM days, like how long were you there for? First of all,
so I came up in the latter part of '88 from 1050 Chum. And then just before it got to 90, so like 91, because it was, again, a very turbulent time at that station. And then they ended up shoving me into the van, into the wacky fun van. It was like, here's Captain Mike and his monkey friends, or whatever stupid ass thing that they have you doing. And I hated it. Like I really did not like what they did to me. I was actually pretty angry. And it took a while for me to figure out. And that was sort of the start. And this is what I say to people. When you get told no, or when you get pushed into something that sucks, then instead of just pouting or, taking a bit of a snowflake attitude where they're against me. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fine there. But they're also wrong. And they don't know what I know, which is probably what I think most people have to keep in mind in being in broadcasting, period. Because now it's different. It's filled full of podcasting. It's filled full of a lot of different things that just aside from AM, FM, radio, which we knew growing up. So to me, it's about sticking to your guns, knowing that what you believe in at some point when you get a chance to prove it, like that's your shot, right? It's like sports. It's like, I'm the best quarterback in the world. Really? Here's the ball. By the way, that's Tom Brady. He's going to take 5 minutes. You go in there. Let's see what you can do now. Because that's it. It's like thinking you're funny. You think you're funny? Well, go down to Yuck Yucks. Go be in front of people, not your friends and family, not a church get together. No, I'm saying you got to go on and you got to lay it on the line. If you're right, we're going to find out real quick. And to me, that's the way I've lived. And because my background is sports, I don't mind it. Then you give me that ball. Because I guarantee you, I'm never coming off. I'm not coming off the court. I'm not coming off the field, and I'm not coming off the ice. If you get me on there, I'm never coming off.
That's good.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's great.
I don't know if you can see the side of the screen where we have our chat where people are commenting and some people may ask questions and whatnot. Our one friend here, Retro Mix Toronto, by the name, his real name is Thomas Hall, is asking if you know a gentleman by the name of Wayne Webster.
Oh, I think everyone knows Wayne Webster. His nickname is Shoes, and he is, well, he wins music director so often in Canada, across the country. Like, he wins it so often. I just call him Wayne of the Year. Because,
there you go. All right,
because
all right.
all he does is win music director of the year, no matter where he goes. He is one of the all-time, good guys. He is so well liked where we are, and he is one of my favorites. So absolutely, yeah, he is the best. Shoes is the best.
Shoes is the best. There you go, Thomas. So Thomas, I'm assuming did video dance. He's a DJ as well, but he does video dance parties. So I think now he's doing events for Boom 97 when they do their live events, but he's also done, like he was saying before, Chum FM and Mix 99.9 and so on and so forth. So there was a period though that you left radio, right? You opened up your own small business with somebody else. Tell us a little bit about that, what you're doing and how that all kind of came about.
Well, after I got shoved into the wacky van, I'm like, okay, so now I had just bought a house and just had a baby. So I'm like, little child, there's the little infant, and Jordan, who's now not. And then my wife, who hated this business and always has, kind of still does. Actually, not that big on me. When you think about it, just a lot of unhappiness being with me. So
I've been there.
I think a lot of us have.
Been there twice, actually. Yeah.
And so John MacArthur says, you know what we should do with all your stuff, all the impressions and everything else? What don't we do a comedy service? How do we do that? So he got a hold of a guy who's actually quite famous in this country, Bob Makowitz, known as Mako, and he was working for McLean, which, as many know, that's CFNY. So they had a thing where they gave grants to people who want to do these radio programs, a radio product of some kind, and pay for it. So I went up to CFNY once a week and found this kid named Craig Venn to go on the board. And I'm like, well, he didn't seem very good. And Craig, if you're listening,
no offense,
you really be though. I mean, honestly. So of course
he's gonna be pissed when he sees this. Yeah,
no, he expects it, and he steals. Did I tell you that? I saw him steal from a baby once. Anyway, so we go in and we do this, and of course, since then, all of us, like, we've been brothers since that time. And so then we decide to open up an office, and John and myself do that with a company. We call it Headline Comedy. We send it coast to coast with all this stuff, all these little bits, and in interactives, which is kind of what got me all these other jobs. And interactives being, I would record one side of a conversation by a celebrity, a famous voice.
I remember,
and then they play it back. They have a script and they fill in the holes. Now, I've made my entire career past that, doing both sides, except there's no script. So I just continually talk to myself. You saw that little bit of Peyton Manning. It's kind of, that's the idea. It's interactive. So we did that, and then that's when Bob McCowan, Mako said, you really should be doing sports with your background. And I was like, sports radio? You're saying the stuff that I know that's really irritating to everybody else. I can get a job doing this. And so Bob said, I don't want the tapes. I want the kid. Bring the kid in. So we go in there and we really started having fun. Like, we really had a good time. And so did Bob. Bob loved that I brought some energy to can be a very extremely stale format. How many times can I talk about the Leafs third line, or how come the Buffalo Bills and blah, blah. Like, it's mind-numbing. It's when I started drinking coffee. I never drink coffee until I was either coffee or crack. And so I chose the coffee, and I went on and they changed. And it was myself and John Derringer. And that was a really good show. That show, when I look back on it, people go, so you and Derringer were on the same show together? But I was doing mostly kind of like co-hosty, the comedy bit stuff. And then John turns to me and said, you can still do the impressions and stuff, but like, who you are is like this is your voice. We don't, you got to be you. And so, and this is sort of the journey of how that kind of starts. He's the first guy who turns to me and said, you don't need to do the voice. I mean, they're funny and don't stop doing them, but I don't need the big setup. I don't need to be talking to, Steven Seagal, right? We do Steven Seagal. He literally, coffee would come out his nose. He couldn't handle it. We'd play this stupid music. And it was during that time where he was, how he got really, on deadly ground. It was all saving the Mother Earth, and everything was very about natural stuff.
Yeah,
And that's when he was still talking in a voice like this. He was still sort of talking in a high voice.
It's amazing.
So I'd come on the show and say, "Hey, John, the mother web, which is our Earth," this kind of crap, right? And so he could not handle that, and we had a great time. And it's too bad it ended. And it's just weird that how everything has for John, obviously, that it turned very sour later on in his career, but that was a very good show, and regardless of some of those things that have happened to him in his life, but it's rare that I've worked with someone who, in terms of radio talent, he was Gretzky, he was Lemieux, he's Connor McDavid. There's really nobody I've known, and I've worked a lot of great ones, Jerry Forbes being one of them. But and every guy's been a little different in their own way. Bob McCown, Jeff Lumby, Paul Romanek, there's been a bunch of them. But John is his own universe, and so it's a shame how things came out. But I will tell you, if you're talking about radio talent, I don't know if there was anyone bigger or better than John.
Yeah.
Do you still keep in touch with him at all?
I haven't in a while. I sent out a message when things got very turbulent for him, and sometimes I think is just to give him space. Talking on the Toronto Mike podcast, I've said some things that aren't really quite what everyone else has said, which I don't care, but they probably don't know him the way I do. And the way that I perceive the business, I don't think everyone should work together. I think there's some bands that probably shouldn't be on the same headline. Like you shouldn't be putting Guns N' Roses on at the same time in Lilith Fair. Like Boy George should not be going on with Godsmack. There are just certain audiences that probably don't meld together. And when they put him with some of the people they did in that room, I knew it would be a disaster. And look, it's not an excuse, and I'm not excusing, what happened. I don't think he would, honestly, at this point. But what happened. And there's people, and I said, look, for what it's worth, if you're asking me about radio talent, I don't know a lot of people in that category. I said, you have the Jerry Forbes of the world, you have the Bob McCowans, and really the three of them. When I look at it, they're all in the Radio Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
There's a reason. There's a reason for that.
So before you even hit radio, was there anybody that you did look at and say, "Wow, that's what I want. That's what I feel," kind of thing?
Mike Palmetier. I want to be a goalie. Yeah. and seriously, I was pretty good, and sort of this is the torturous. I mean, this is the Tales of Costanza. How you just cringe when you hear it. The decisions I've made in my lifetime. Some of them are like, "Ooh, boy, did you really want to be? You turned down that? Oh yeah. I made some, in some of the camps that I went to earlier on. Mike Keenan was a huge fan of myself, and then Jacques Martin came in, and Jacques Martin was a huge fan, and I was getting to a point where I remember getting these letters from the Peterborough Pete's, which is where I wanted to go. What I do? Went to Yuck Yucks. Oh, that's. That Keith Acton playing summer hockey goes, "What the Christ are you doing? What do you mean? Are you supposed to? I heard you're supposed to be in Peterborough." "Yeah, I'm down at Yuck Yucks." He goes, "What is that? What's that?" It sounds crazy to hockey players. And then I found out later on the one camp that I didn't go to as a kid. I went to a different camp. I went to the Pickering Panthers, and so this was I lost out to Glenn Healy, who was a little bit older than me. So I'm like, okay, but I turned down another camp. And then when I looked at it, they were called the Oshawa Legionnaires. They were the feeder club to the Generals. The team that I didn't go to, which was Mike Keenan's team.
Yeah.
You know who I would have played with? Dale Howard-Chuck. Great move. Oh yeah. And then they go and do the comedy, and they want to team me with this tall guy, this lanky guy who does all kinds of crazy faces when he does the impressions, and you two guys could do the impressions, but he does the faces. Who's that? Jim Carrey. You guys are really gonna get along. Because this doesn't work out. I'm probably just going to the NHL anyway. What an idiot! I mean, it gets more disgusting. Trust me.
No, but you never know what you go in that direction, and where's it going to take you? It could have taken you in a totally different thing that was just not going to work out at all.
I see prostitutes in Las Vegas and death. That's
there's
no good ending for me in that. There's no face down in a pool, soaked in my own urine with some hooker going, "He said he was going to pay me." Yeah. That's how it ends for me.
So maybe I was going to say that Jim Carrey really mucked up, but
he was nobody anyway.
Idiot. Yeah, never heard of that guy. Jesus Christ. But so you got so now you're on Mississauga Radio. Is it not 960?
I did that after, well, there was a bunch of stations in between, right? I don't know if you want to go, but I mean, because then at that point when the fan goes through their changes and they made some really weird decisions. John and I were going to go to Q107. Okay. John and I wanted to go to Q.
Really?
And so, but there was an issue that John had with the ownership of what the company was called WIC at the time. So they had an issue with him, but not with me. So I'm like, well, who? And then so they tried to team me up with all these guys. So they ended up just sending me to Hamilton at Y95.
Okay.
So at the time, I was kind of panicked. Now you have to know, in my background, just my grandparents out that way. My mom went to Westdale. My dad and my brother went to McMaster, and I'm one of the bigger Ticats fans that you're ever going to find. Like a freak, like a hooligan, like really nasty and bad. And so Hamilton was a huge love of mine. So that wasn't that. But when you think you're going to Q107, I'm like, what am I gonna? What's the format? Who am I working with? And then it ended up being a guy named Jeff Lumbee. Now, Jeff Lumbee, who'd gone on to do a lot of things in this business, both in radio and in television, who also is like one of my closest friends. Like I literally, if he's moved to France now, and these pals, Humble and Fred, like that sort of crowd, Dan Duran, all those guys, that's his crowd. Yep. But he's a lifeline to me, from those days on. He's as important to me as the business is. And in fact, it's probably quite the other way around. He is as great as he is at that business, and he knows a ton. There's certain friends you have that you kind of need because they're the ones who give you the straight goods. Like when you're going off, as we all know from me, here comes that decision. We see you with, I don't know, maybe Brad Pitt and Clooney. Nah, I'll go to Fillmore's. I'm going to go to Fillmore's and mop up semen because I really think that's where I really think there's a future.
That's where the money's at. Yeah, that's where the big money's at. Yeah.
So that working at Y95 and again thinking where I was going to go, and then finally we ended up going to Kiss FM, country music 925. I thought this is pretty good. We're there for 6 months. They sell the station, the company does out of Saskatchewan, and they sell to Rogers, and I'm out again. And now I'm out. Then I end up going to the Team 1050 because they start sports. I'm going, okay, 1050 for the second time around. This has got to be pretty good, right? Wrong. They mismanage it. They don't know what they're doing. And like everyone else in sports, there's two things at play. There's radio and there's sports.
Yeah.
You've got to know both. You can't just say, I know a lot of, because what we're dealing with now is a lot of sports nerds have got into the radio business and it stinks. It's boring. It sucks because they're just sports nerds. They're not telling stories. They're telling me stats. I don't give a shit about stats. I don't care about that. It's part of the metrics. That's fine. Tell me an angle like when you talk to one of the players, when you talk to a coach, when you talk to an owner. They don't do any of that. They just go on and they sit there like all the podcasts and everything else and blather away. I'm like, could you even accidentally be entertaining? Like just once. And so you don't have that. So at some point I started to feel like, okay, so the Team 1050, it also has the extremely short life. Now I'm like, well, now what am I going to do? Well, when it was national, we always got a good response from Calgary. And I thought, well, Forbes is out in Calgary now. He's the king of Calgary. I wonder if and so that's what I did. And that really is the start of my life. The moment I get off the plane in 2004 and touch Albertan soil, I became Albertan. It was like probably Superman going back to Krypton or something. I don't know. I realized that my superpower was going to be what this place was going to offer. And it's a love affair that's never stopped. Never stopped. And so I get, this station has dashes. I mean, it really doesn't have it has Jim Rome and the Calgary Flames broadcast. But in some of these other day parts, they just had nothing. So they really didn't offer me very much, and I didn't know what to do, but I eventually take it for just real shit money. I think it was 50 grand. It was like 50 grand. No. I'm like, but this is what I'm saying about betting on yourself. I go, you give me that 50 grand.
Right.
We'll talk and let's see what happens. So a bunch of consultants listen for like, when I finally take the job for like the first week, the first day. So I go in there, I do nothing but production for a week. Because everything I do is heavily produced. Like you can turn that radio on and it will be more of a rock show than whatever the rock station is at that point.
Right, yeah.
Jerry Forbes on CJ. And of course, it's just nothing but anger. It was, and look, for a long time, people have called me the Howard Stern of sports. And
Okay.
I know why they say it. It's because I'm not trying to be Howard, because no one's going to be Howard. I love Howard. I love Howard.
Sure. Yeah.
But the part about it is just that I really don't give a shit. I don't care. And I'm going to be very, very honest. So the guy you meet, or I'm talking right now, and this is the part I told you about, trying to find yourself. And it really, the most difficult thing is just realizing that the guy you're supposed to be is just the guy who's talking right now. Right. And so I take it from zero to the only sports station, AM station that's number one in the market in Canada. And that's what happens. It takes, I said it would take, they laughed at me. I said it'd take 4 years. It took 6, but they never, ever, ever, ever thought that would happen. And when it does, that's when, at the time, those behind the TSN radio that wanted to do, who really were TSN people, but the radio side was chum. So I've always loved the TSN guys. And you tell me the radio side's chum. This is what's supposed to happen. What wasn't supposed to happen that I didn't see coming, and no one did, was Bell.
Good old Bell.
The thieves, the morally bankrupt assholes from Bell get into the radio business and ruin everything, to the point where once I got to a certain number, which was great, I was like, my biggest number has always been the younger number. So we're 25-54 in the male demographic. Yeah. But I have to go against the fan who's been around forever. So overall, I'm kind of losing to them. But under the age of 35, they had like a 4 share. I had like a 20 share. So I kind of think I know where this is going. This is going to be great.
Yep.
And then I get cancer.
Wow.
That's what happened. I wish I could change that, but I end up getting rectal cancer while that's going on, while I'm on the table. This is where Bell decides how they're going to get rid of me and, change everything. And since that time, now I was so outraged. At the time, I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. I'm like, why would you take your highest rated guy, your best guy? It's first they took away my co-host, David Bastel. Just Doug Gilmore was in studio with us, and Dougie I know very well. So we're all sitting there joking around, and then Jeff McDonald, who's the program director, comes in and said, "Can I see David for a second?" I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." So Doug and I talk. He comes back, and goes, "They just let me go."
Wow.
What are you talking about? Wow. What are you talking about? And then what I realized at that point, and this is when Bell got their hands in, and of course, I was just the first I was Lisa LaFlamme before Lisa LaFlamme was. So, so then they started taking down entire radio stations. Like, I'm upset about me. Oh, they took down Vancouver and Edmonton and Winnipeg. They just took out people's entire stations of people who were providing for their families and just killed them, like literally. So I was being all upset about me. And now I look back and I'm kind of embarrassed about it. But I was just the first of literally thousands that would lose their jobs to these pricks. So, so that ended, unbeknownst to me, as they like to say, in 2015. And then for a couple of years, I'm like, what do I do? Well, I don't know. Because at this point, I know they're not hiring people of a certain caliber and a certain dollar figure. So I'm like, forget the dollar figure. Let's go back to the beginning. Pay me $50,000. I'll tell you what, I'll go back. But they won't do that. And they all get a little kind of afraid. And so I started a podcast. Well, back in the day, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Like, that was just brutal. I'm like, where is everybody? What am I doing this for 8 people? Like, I couldn't, I don't understand. Where's the money? Aren't I supposed to get money doing this?
Right.
And so I'm like, oh my God. And then I kind of run into these people who are running this radio station in Mississauga called Saga 960. I go, what the God is this? And it's run by this Indian family, the Panu family, who, I ended up being so close with, so Dave Bastel and myself, we decide we're going to go out there, and you go, do you want to give this a shot? Like, do you want to do this? But of course, the family that ran it, and Ravinder originally, and who owns it, had been in Indian programming for a long time, but nothing to do with the English speaking programming. So his daughter, Jyoti, the lovely Jyoti, came in, and like, she saved the day. And it was very difficult. And there was a lot of, how would you put it, lost in translation stuff. I normally don't get mad, but I got mad a bunch of times when I was out there, because I was trying to explain how these things work. And but I grew and still am very close to that family. Like Jyoti it means the world to me. And so that's I remember I was very surprised when I was thinking about all this television stuff to get back to the main stage. That's always been the work, is try to get back somehow with sports media strangling itself to death, murdering it. Really, people just like, it's dying out. No, it's not. It's not dying out. They're holding its head underneath the water. There's a difference. And so, like I said, I still talk to all of them. I do miss them. I certainly miss Jody and a guy by the name of Praveen and a whole bunch of consonants in his last name. I can't get close. I mean, I'll sound like Charles Barkley trying to say Jonas Valanciunas. I just couldn't get close. But as difficult it was, those are the things sometimes you embrace a little bit. And I really am very proud of what happened at News Talk Saga 960. There's been Nav Namwa, who was a guy who showed up on there, as I would say, a young brown guy, really like and a beautiful, nice sounding voice, which you don't hear anymore, but smart and funny and intelligent. And he ended up he's the morning guy at CBC Windsor. He never would have got that job. He had a full-time other job. I think he was doing marketing for like Loblaws or something. Like he had a real job because he's a smart dude. But he was into all kinds of music and cultural events. Like he was really. And I said, you know what, you could do this for a living. He goes, are you sure, man? I go, I am positive. And so he got there's two guys now who are on News Talk 680 News. Or what are they call the damn thing now? But without that, there's been a lot of people that have moved on from that, and I think that's a great thing. To me, I'm really proud of that kind of work.
Yeah, absolutely. And so now you have a TV show that's coming out.
Yeah.
Correct?
So this has been, now this pushed me like of all these other things, and I beat cancer. So
congratulations.
I don't know if I can beat stupid. It's tougher to beat stupid. And so I've dealt with these people and some of these networks and some of these television. Like I tried to deal with a company called the Game Plus Network. And so I'm like, no, don't worry. I know you don't know it because nobody knows it. Nobody even, but
Dan might know it.
If you start scrolling up, you're like, what? I'm sorry, what are you talking about? So I started dealing with guys and some great people. Now, Rod Peterson is a personality from out in Saskatchewan. And Darren Toupon is a guy who produces his stuff. Has got a production company. And he basically was helping me through this. And he, they do a great job and they're on this station. So I say, well, I'll go on there. Give me the morning show. I'll be your national sports morning show, Monday to Friday. And of course, no one wants to pay. So there's no money. So they say, okay, but would you get sponsors? Yeah. Can we have the money for? Hold on. Wait a minute. You realize when Lincoln was shot, that pretty much was the end of slavery. Like we're not doing a lot of that. I work and give you all the money and all the product. And this is, but I couldn't get an answer from these guys. They were the worst. It was crazy town. It's like, am I taking crazy pills? Because this is stupid. This is the dumbest thing. And I wasted almost 2 years on these guys. And I'm like, I'm written up in broadcast dialogue. They're like, well, finally, you're going to get somebody that somebody knows, and maybe this will drive people to get subscriptions. Nope. I got a huge company, Subaru. Is anyone else getting Subaru around here? Anyone gets? And they say, because it's you, we'll do it. And the guy running the place was like, do you think you could go on YouTube for a while? I swear to God, I've been watching a lot of Sopranos lately. I didn't see Sopranos the first time. So you're in New Jersey.
Yeah,
so
I'll take you on this guy.
What did you just say to me? What did you say? What did you? I swear to God, So I have to walk away and go, now what? And this company comes along because you start to know people a little bit. Called Homestand Sports. A guy by the name of Mike Day who worked a long time at TSN, and a guy named Mark Silver. And we're working on stuff back and forth for the last probably 5-6 months. But then you realize sometimes that the fit at the time may not be the fit that either of you are looking for. For one way or the other, and it's not a fault of anybody. I will say this, that there's certain people that you meet in your lifetime and you're kind of glad you did. Mike Day was one of them. He's an all-star to me. And so I realized at one point, maybe at this moment it's not the fit, but it will be. I kind of think it will be one day. So it looked like I was going to be a homestand sort of product. Guys like James Sharman were there, who's again one of my all-time favorites, and they have a it's like a smart channels, right? So it's sort of the digital future, really. But I am like, I got to do this thing for me. I want television, and I've got to prove that I can do it. I'm used to going 3 hours a day, so even an hour a day. But this is like, they're like, can you do half an hour a week?
Oh, please.
I'm like,
with your eyes closed.
I mean, you guys have got no questions in, hardly. I've talked for 40 minutes and haven't taken a breath. I'm
think you
pretty
might be
sure.
onto something here. You might be onto something.
Well, ran into a great guy I hadn't seen since my Ryerson days. And he's been working mostly in the States, look, probably 20 years of it in LA. So whether it's John Stamos or the other Michael Richards or the biggest company, Super Bowl ads. I mean, this guy has done it all. He's huge. So he's like, I got an idea. He goes, how we could work together. And so I connect with him. He shows me sort of the blueprint of how to basically make money. And part of it is you buy the time. Now, I'm going, buy the time. Oh, God. You mean like all those losers, like the people you never heard of, or welcome to Cindy Crawford's cosmetic miracles. I'm like, cosmetic miracles. I'm like, is this really? And then he sort of shows me how you do this market to market, but own it all. And at the same time, the ability to help advertisers who can't find space in this day and age, because all the bigger companies, all the bigger channels, they go big game hunting. Yeah, they'll take the Subarus. They're going to take Timex. They're going to, or whatever the big company happens to be. But what about the mid range guy? What about the chain of restaurants? Could be 13. What about Chuck's Roadhouse? Like, where's he buy time?
So baby.
Well, this is, you have to find guys and who want to attach themselves. Now, look, we've been pretty lucky, and early on, Adidas has been the first one in, and I don't think it's going to stop there. And so what we can do is provide kind of that, a small town, if you will, sort of hands-on massaging of what you need to have done, because there's not 10 people, there's not 9 floors. You're not talking to the marketing director. You want something done, you call Mike, or you call Wayne Craig, or we've got a guy now selling who's been in the business for 30 years, Chris McDonald. He worked for Cosette for 9 years. He's at his own many advertising agencies. And so we found what I started to call the super friends. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The super friends with the rings, and they touch each other, and we change into different, and so when I try to explain this at a strip joint, they don't know what I'm talking about. But trust me, this is really solid. This is very good.
They just try to make money for college. I get it. Been there. Allegedly.
Oh, the same girls I know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
sure.
Yeah, sure. Was it Chantel? Yeah. So
Sasha at Caddy's.
Caddies. Oh, I mean, Caddies.
Classic right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
no longer there, by the way. It's gone.
Yeah. 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 It is a little sad, isn't it?
I wept.
So we've got this show and this framework of which you saw the sizzle reel at the beginning.
Yeah.
So it moves fast. It goes by very quickly, and it's not regional per se. So I'm not going on and talking about Austin Matthews or the Leafs' third line of the problem, the penalty kill in Calgary or whatever. I'm going to take a more national sort of view of it in a similar way that you would see almost a Pat McAfee do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because probably when Pat first started, I don't think they probably gave him a lot of support. Maybe they didn't think he was very good. They probably only had limited, I don't know they really thought of him, but he did the same thing. He took that and he shoved it up everyone's ass, and he did it his way. I mean, who wears sleeveless muscle shirts or whatever, whatever he goes on, who was the stylist on that one? So, but he doesn't care. And you know what? God bless him for it. So I'm looking at some going, okay, we have nothing in Canada, not a thing. Because Sportsnet, the last thing they would have had is sort of Tim and Sid, or that.
Yeah.
TSN, nothing. Bell's never going to spend money on. The only thing they have is Overdrive, which is a local Toronto show that is a radio show. They just happen to have cameras. That's not a TV show, folks. It's not television. It's not sports television. And look, they're all great dudes, and I love all those guys.
Sure.
But are you kidding me? How come we don't have a host of a sports program? Because they'll put Pat McAfee on TSN. I'm like, oh, Christ, that takes balls. So the only guy that would have done that for you when he had cancer, you showed him the door. That's what you did.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm doing in a very, you'll see some of my posts with a lot of Braveheart imagery.
I like Braveheart,
not kind of what we saw. I'm going to take it back. I'm going to take the country back. I'm going to take all the sponsors they have, and I'm going to take them to my side. I'm going to go market to market. I'll buy my own time. I'll start with a half an hour at a time. Those that want to join on and belong to what is going to be the Let's Take Back the Country, you're more than welcome to be part of the Raw Mike Richards experiment. Now, people are saying, wait a minute. You're starting to sound a little bit like that other guy who's, we're going to make it great again. We're going to do a lot of great things. If you want to join, and I'm saying this because that's a nasty guy. He's a nasty guy over at Rogers. So, but yeah, but it really is going to be quite a great ride. It's just the start of it. It will be this fall. And I encourage anybody who, again, just watching this, wondering, can I do, what can I do? I got a podcast. I wasn't on the radio. As long as you feel that the talent you have at some point is wanted, at some point you do something where someone goes, you know what? There's something there. I kind of like that. Then go for it, man. Don't be told that you can't. Don't be told that you're not good enough. Don't be told that you have to have all these other things before you can be successful, and have someone else tell you, yes, now you can be successful. F that. Do it yourself.
I think there's very few who have tied in where you have a radio personality and then there's television. Two different things. And people have said this before many times, that it's two different things. And now you're taking this and you're tying it in to, because in radio, you have to have that personality. You have to have that where you're presenting it in a certain way so that you can keep capturing the audience. Now, when you bring that into TV, how does that change? Or do you change it? You don't really want to change that though, right? You want to kind of keep that. Yeah, you want to keep that part of it. So there's very far and few from that are doing that.
It's really, smack talk in sports is, take whatever athlete you want over the years. But I mean, Larry Bird was great at telling you what he was going to do before he did it, and then he'd do it.
Yeah.
You got to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be able to have the kind of confidence to say, okay, well, for instance, the Leaf Heart bit that you saw, that was on both radio and television at the same time. Okay. So when we did, myself and Dave Bastel, and that was Sean Levine, who's the producer, but myself and Dave Bastel, when we did that 1 hour, we didn't lose 1 second to the Fan 590, even though we had just started. And overall in males 25-4, we weren't winning at that time. We didn't lose. Now think about it. That was in radio. We didn't lose. When someone said, well, what's that? It's because the performance, we set that up to be a TV. You would have thought it was a late night TV show. Yeah. The way that we looked at it. I mean, I always looked, I looked at the camera. I'm talking to you. You're the viewer.
Yeah.
On radio, why would that matter? It doesn't matter. But for television, you need to establish that you understand that they've spent some time, even just trying to find it. They find you, give them a show, give them something.
Nice.
And so I find that we have none of that now. So when someone says to me, and for instance, Dan, about not many out there, I have no competition. And that's not me talking. I'm not being Larry Legend.
Right.
I'm saying there is nobody who's going to be doing a sports show, interviewing people and entertaining people and having very strong opinions.
Yeah.
Except me, which I would have found that to be, one time you had Bob McCown, Coast to Coast. You would have had Tim and Sid would have been on, at least doing their thing. You would have had people in local markets who had strong opinions. They're all gone. Yeah, they're all gone. I mean, unfortunately, Bob's had I think he's had at least 2 strokes. He might have had that third stroke, which is really hard to hear, because he's the one who gave me the chance to go on sports radio live. It was him. It was Bob. Bob is the only one who said at that time, got to get him on. So I just look forward to taking the country back. I really do.
That's great. Yeah. We got a couple of comments in the chat real quick. I'm going to go back to this one. Saying that this is a man that never quits. He digs another well, no matter what the desert he's in, which is that's a great, great. I like that because he's amazing taking back the country. Speaking of which, there you go.
This is this person. This is Esther Herbert, who I've known since I was 5.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, really?
Who's checking? She is a magnificent human being. She is one of these people that, whatever was going on in her life, and no one knew her more than we're closer than brother and sister. So when she comes out at the age of whatever it was, I mean, she's probably gonna get mad that I don't remember, but I'd say 45, I don't know, 50, that she has bipolar, that she suffered from mental illness her entire life. No one knew because she could hide it because she always had the smile on her face and her IQ is like 10 million. So she's very, very smart.
Wow.
But she's one of those people, I talk about you have to have, and sometimes you have to have certain angels. She's mine. She is mine.
Oh, that's great.
Amongst all her struggles, how is it that she finds time to lift up this man, which she does continually? And it goes back to a Joel Osteen sort of biblical parable where he talks about digging the wells and he's mad at God because the water doesn't come. And he's like, what am I supposed to do? And God says, well, you got to dig another well until you hit that water. And so that's what that reference is. And that's really what I've done with her help. God bless her. I love her to death.
Well, I'm glad she's here, and I appreciate her checking us out while you're here, of course. There's another gentleman, a friend of ours in the chat, Exquisite 416, good DJ pal of ours. He said he stopped listening at 10:50, 590, as it is the same drivel repeatedly. He says he misses listening to you, Mike, in the morning at 10:50. Thank you for the entertainment for all those years. So there you go.
Yeah, I will tell you, Exquisite, that's the goal. The goal is to take it back, take control over what has been taken away from us, strangled to death, as I like to say, and give you that entertainment and that sports back. That is the entire goal of Raw Mike Richards. As I said, I'll be buying it market to market. I believe we'll be on Fox 29. I believe we're going to be on Fox 29 because it will be a show that whether I was in Toronto, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, or San Diego, Austin, Texas, Atlanta, New York, I don't think it's really going to matter for me because I never really was, or, at times buried into something being too regional, unless I was in a local market, then of course I would do that. But I think the bigger picture in only 22 minutes and 30 seconds, I don't have the time. So I got to get to the highlights. I got to get to the hits and move it along. So, if I get Dana White, who probably be one of the first guys I'm going to talk to, that's probably the kind of guest I'm going to have.
Nice.
Dope.
Very nice.
So 2 links I want to give out to the folks that are watching. Raw Mike Richards on Instagram. Raw Mike Richards. Follow him on Instagram. He's also got a channel on Twitch, which is Raw Mike Richards. So it's.
But I haven't used that in like 3 years.
So I haven't used it in a while, right? I know. I saw that you followed me today. I'm like, wow, he's got a Twitch thing. So my question is, when you start the new show, are you going to be doing anything on Twitch, or is it going to be? You are okay.
Yeah. So Twitch is. We just talked about because of your invitation to do this. I'm like, we got to get because I really like Twitch. I like that. It's access to people, like for instance, watching this, being able to throw in comments or questions. I really, really like Twitch. So I'm definitely, it will be back and available, on as in podcast form. So and then probably what I'll do is things throughout the week. So I'll use Twitch because if I'm going to get into sports, probably delve into the gambling world. I mean, 22 minutes and 30 seconds a week. I mean, sure, I could do like your football picks for that upcoming Sunday. But there's a lot of stuff in between that I'm going to miss. So I probably be much more active on the digital side of things as well.
Sure.
That's
great. Like I said, follow him on Twitch and on Instagram. Raw Mike Richards Show on Instagram.
Even did TikTok. I said I'd never do TikTok,
but now you're doing TikTok.
Now I'm doing TikTok. And it's weird because I'll stay up at night and I'm watching stuff.
Just scrolling through or trying to think of stuff.
I should. What I'm learning one. I've always wanted to learn Japanese. What are you doing? What am I doing? Go to bed.
3 in the morning.
I mean, look.
Well, you're on their timeline, right? So
I'll give guys. You're watching RedTube or Pornhub. Fine, I get that. I understand. But trying to say happy birthday in Japanese, what's that? What are you doing? Go to bed.
You're on their timeline. It just makes it easier to learn their language.
You fall down that rabbit hole and you just don't end up it. That's what it is.
One of the things I always remembered, though, Mike, is, and you mentioned it before, not to go too far back, but I recall, I'm not asking you to do the impression, but I think you used to do a conversation between you and Cliff Clavern from Cheers.
Oh, God.
And then fast forward, when I moved to New Jersey, I began to listen to Opie and Anthony here in the New York, New Jersey. Anthony, I swear, he does these impressions. You think it was the real people, but he was doing similar. He was having conversations with Ronald Reagan, and it always made me think, yeah, the guy on, because it was a long time after, but like the guy on CKFM used to do this stuff, like you know what I mean, like he's ripping you off, all that good stuff, but. but it's amazing how stuff like that always stood out. It was hysterical, and I used to listen to it every morning, like I said, and brag to my friends, like, you got to hear him do these impressions.
Well, I think all you're saying really
not to take away from your sports and everything else, but just
but it's the entertainment part.
Yeah,
like at some point, can we not? And this is not to be a dick, but at some point, the reason that a guy makes the NHL and the other guy doesn't is just because there's a level of talent the other guy doesn't have.
Sure.
And that should be so obvious when you're listening to a show and you hear all these things and the guy's doing this, and you're listening to Opie Anthony, you're listening to Stern, or you're listening to whatever, Bubba the Love Sponge, whoever you want to listen to, and you're listening to all this stuff, you're like, well, that doesn't sound like our local guys. That doesn't sound like this guy. No, it doesn't. And that's why they make like millions of dollars a year, because they have a show that sounds like that. And even if you don't have that kind of money, I sure always attempted to make it sound that way. And I know, look, some of the hardcore sports guys, they thought I messed around too much. They probably still do, but I never worried about them because, that's the scope of those guys that, they're in their fantasy leagues and that, they only want to hear, oh, just Jason Tatum. All he was on the court for 37 minutes, but he had 4 rebounds. Okay. I get that. But seriously, I'm going to tell you're driving into work for a job that you hate.
That's too cookie cutter style. It's too much of the same thing. It doesn't matter where you're going over to with that. Right.
Like we all get phones. I can see that. Yeah. I see that he was 37, 10 and 10. I okay, fine. I get that.
That's great.
But
we were watching the Leaf game just the other day with a friend of mine, and was looking at Austin Matthews to see the stats for this number 70. And legit, as I pulled up my phone, I started looking at the stats. I started looking over, and I started reading it over to him. And then literally 2 seconds later, all I hear is the same thing coming out of the TV.
Yeah,
it was the exact same thing coming out. Right? It was like, well, I could have looked at that.
But the whole thing, Dan, is so if someone says to me, okay, Zach Edey. So Zach Edey wins now the outstanding basketball player collegiately 2 years in a row, 7'4". No one can stop him. Every night he's 35, 15, whatever. He doesn't pass the ball and he shoots no threes. So like, okay, I can talk about his stats all you want.
Yeah.
But what's the take? My take is I just don't see him being in the NBA. I don't see a fit for a 7-footer who doesn't shoot threes. It doesn't matter about the blocks, but you're telling me, even when you watch games with, who did I see the other night? I mean, Wemby's nuts, but if you're going to put him up against what, even Sabonis, like he just doesn't have. Joel Embiid will literally, I think, eat him on the floor. Like I don't see how, because we don't play that way anymore. There's no low post guy who's 7 foot. He does a sky hook and then everyone goes home. Basketball doesn't get played that way anymore. Embiid will bring the ball up. Giannis will bring the ball up. He's not doing that ever. So what is that fit? I don't think it. I love him. I think he played as hard as he could, but at least give me a take other than his stats on what you think he's going to do. And I heard Draymond Green talking about how he quit, how Zach Edey quit. Yeah. He didn't quit. He just didn't have anybody else, and he only has one gear. Once you're done with that, you're out. And so he didn't quit. It's just that he isn't made, I don't believe, for the NBA. He'll get drafted, but I don't see it.
Well, I got to be honest. I'm looking forward to the show in the fall, and I hope. Look, we've had you on for an hour, so I don't want to take up more time than we should. But I definitely want to be in touch with you, and because
anytime.
Honest to God, I have such great fond memories of you guys, you in particular, back in the day, and I'm very I got excited when I was able to reconnect with you. Not to sound no homo, but you know what I'm saying. Like when you can reconnect with somebody of your past that you have good memories of, I mean, to me that's one of the greatest things ever. So I got excited reconnecting, and you answered my text on Instagram, so I appreciate you doing that, or else we wouldn't be here today. So thank you for doing that. And yeah, man, like definitely. And if you need Dan to help on your show, I'll pimp him out for a small fee. It's fine. But
I don't think really Dan does anything. I'll be honest. I've been here for an hour.
No, you're right. He doesn't do shit.
I do nothing.
I say weekend or weekend, he does nothing.
I mean, he's got a lovely home, clearly. I mean, a grand piano and the fireplace and the whole thing. Speaking of RedTube, every movie starts in this house.
There you go. Yeah, comes in here dressed like Scott Hall.
See?
And
Oh,
looks
there
like
you go.
nothing the whole show.
I'll give you that one.
There you go.
There you go.
For life, my friend. But Mike, thank you seriously. Raw Mike Richards on Instagram. Follow him on his Twitch channel. Keep an eye out for a show coming out in the fall. I hope to be in touch with you again. I might want to talk to you about getting Doug Gilmore on here. Maybe if you could lie and say, "Yeah, that Bradley."
Do you
guy,
notice
he's all
how
right."
his name is DJ Staples93?
Oh, that's true.
So
Yeah.
the reason why he has done it, actually, I'll let you. It's your name, Staples.
No, go ahead. You started. It's your show. You do what you
Yeah.
want, Dan. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
you
me.
want all the money now, Dan. Let's see it.
Yeah,
Dougie's his favorite
Do
player. He
something.
just, yeah,
Do
right?
something. Yeah.
I demand a raise now.
Sorry, I talked over.
Dougie's his favorite player, and he's a big fan of his, and that's where
Yeah,
he
man.
just threw the 93.
Well, you'll never
in
be
there. It's always-
disappointed
always
spending
stuck
time
in
with
there.
Dougie. He's Doug is
I-
one of a kind. Like he is as good as you think he'll be.
Yeah.
You'll be right on that one. Maybe even better. He's awesome.
I just took my kids to the Leafs Devils game. We root for the Leafs, and it was nice to see there's a lot of folks still wearing the Gilmore jersey at the game. So,
Cool. That is
yeah,
great.
man.
Very good.
Yeah. And I was explaining.
Yeah.
Of course, my kids know about Doug Gilmore through me, so they say, "Daddy, look at they all got Gilmore shirts on." I'm like, "I know, I'm in heaven." I'm like, "I want to cry, but I don't." Trying to show my manhood. I'm a man around my children. But go Leafs, go! So real quick, I got to ask you: do you think Matthews is going to get 70 or what?
So you want to go back to that? You really?
I'm going to do
Why'd
it.
you go back to that?
I'm going to do it. I'm going to.
I'll tell you.
You know.
I am fatigued by the Leafs.
Yeah,
Fatigued.
I hear you. Yeah,
Literally, I can't take it. They're like, "Hey, did you see last night?" Nope.
No.
I watched Very Brady Christmas. Surprise ending. Couldn't believe it. Jan, she was amazing.
George Glass.
I like. You know what? When they go to an Eastern Conference final,
then you'll watch.
then we're going to talk a little.
Yeah,
bit.
I get it. I
Let's
get it.
talk.
Yeah.
But until that
Yeah.
time, it's like, did you know that did you see Austin Matthews? He made love to his mother on the ice in the second period.
Yeah.
Didn't see it. Didn't see
Yeah.
a thing. You know what? That sounds interesting. And
But
make
prove it.
the Eastern
Yeah.
Conference Finals. Go do something. It's like winning. As as they say, just win, baby. It honestly is the only thing. And so, during the regular season, or what do you think? And after 8 years now of the same group, and I can't believe I used that word because what I enjoyed was when
I'm gonna say it's an interesting to say group. Interesting
because it's a bad I never heard anyone really use that word. But that first interview, and I wasn't sure because I obviously had him on the air at TSN, but I heard him and he started talking like this. He said, "Well, we got a bunch of good guys out there. They're a good group. I think they got to play like good pros. And so what we got to do is we got to get 34 up there. And I think when you do that, you got a good chance. But you got to practice every day, and you got to come to practice, and you got to go out and play because we got good players. They got good players, and so let's get this group going."
I absolutely love the
awesome.
between
That's awesome.
the between period interview with any hockey player, because it's always the same. "Oh, we got a good group of guys out there. And, we're just really plugging along and wipe the sweat. And hopefully in the third period, Maddie or Chrissy will get things going, and we'll just have to fight through."
Well, John
it.
Tavares now is doing like a Babcock impression. I'm like,
Oh,
isn't he? It is.
John
I'm
Tavares.
going, he's stealing my bit.
Funny story. My cousin went to
That's
school
what
with John
you should
Tavares.
you should have him on and do it and do Babcock versus Babcock.
Yeah.
Sorry,
He's actually a
go
good
ahead.
guy too. I
Tavares.
love that interview. He was really good with me actually. Yeah.
Oh man, I'll hold back on my Tavares comment then. But no, I'm going to say it. My cousin went to school with him. She said you'd be lucky if you could cut a hole in paper, that guy. But who cares? He plays good hockey. But I'm like you. Living in Jersey, everyone's talking about Matthew. They come to me and talk about Matthews, and I say the same thing. That's great, but I want to see them get past, like you said, to the conference finals or do something, because last couple of years, that's great. You spend all the money on this guy. He's doing great during the season, but last couple post season, whatever level, whatever distance they got you, not very far, but he hasn't even showed up. So that's my 2 cents. But I'm a Leaf. Well, last year I said that's it, no more, and then this year started. I'm still rooting for them. So we'll see. Take the boy out of Toronto, but you know how that goes.
I take a look, at it's funny. There was I think they canceled now. It was a ESPN NHL Classic or whatever that was that they don't show. There was game from like, I don't know what it was. It was an old Bruins Philadelphia game. Maybe it was playoffs, probably like 1978, 1979. And the thing that struck me was there was hardly any whistles. Like they were just going. There's no logos anywhere and there's no advertising on the side. But the crowd is screaming. There are chances everywhere. You know, there's, it was post Bernie Pront, but you had these goalies making these stack pad crazy saves, and it was out in front. It was the reason probably as it got into the 80s, where the excitement of the game at the time, because it's changed so much now.
Sure.
Where all I could hear was Bob Cole's voice.
I love it.
And so someone was saying, well, why did you, why is Cole, like, we always did this thing, and I've done it for years, not in a while, but it was a game show called Bob Cole Chicks I Like. And so Bob Cole would come on and you play clips of women from TV shows and movies. And Bob Cole saying, oh, she's a pretty girl there. Oh, she's got something going. And she really does. That's Farrah Fawcett from the movie Logan's Run. Oh, baby, she can fly there. So it's all this kind of stuff. But because I could always hear, it's Gilmore, it's Clark, they're around the net. He's at it again.
Yeah.
Because that's what it sounds like to me. In my head, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And so people are like, why the voice? Because the voice was stuck in my head, because it was for a lot of us as Leafs fans, because it was Clark. It was Clark and Gilmore. And here they come again. So it was like, oh my God. And now it's like, it is so little difference between, and this is really a credit probably to even the athletes. Like, these guys are monsters. Like, the guys who are playing the ice. I don't know if people realize how good they are. No fat. In the day, Guy Lafleur was smoking, blowing darts and in the middle. Like, these guys are like temples.
Darts. Yeah.
Yeah. These guys are unbelievable, and they go on the ice for what, 28, 29 seconds, 32 seconds, whatever it is. So there really doesn't, and there's a lot of whistles, and the goalies have a lot of padding, and they're on the ice a lot, they're on their knees, and they got their elbows big because the goalies are 6'9", and I'm like, I don't know. Is it me? Because I think it's one of the, if someone said, where does hockey fit in for you? And I said, well, put it this way. If I lived in Dallas, or I lived in a place where, maybe they would obviously talk about the Stars, but if I was in Austin, Texas, or if I was in San Diego, it wouldn't bug me, because I watch a lot of collegiate sports. Pretty much. I mean, between college football and college basketball, that wraps up a good part of like what I watch. Even though I will say, for the first time ever, and my dad, he couldn't believe it. My father's a great coach, a well-respected coach. He was on me the whole year about watching Caitlin Clark. So, son, have you seen what Caitlin? I said, oh, Dad, now you're just calling her Caitlin. Like, it's getting weird, right? Like,
right.
Are you going over there for Thanksgiving dinner? Like, what was happening? And so he goes, oh, you're a sexist. You don't watch any. I said, okay, Dad, I'll watch it, and I'll watch when the girls take threes, and it looks like they're shooting a medicine ball. Okay, I'll watch. I don't know any of the names. I don't know the schools. So I watched the quarterfinal, and I can't believe what I'm watching.
She's amazing.
She's like Steve Nash and Bird and Reggie Miller all rolled into one. Like, I've never really seen. It was one of the finest athletic performances I saw all year, and that's I'm
not much of a college sports person at all, but down here in Jersey, I mean, it's all over ESPN and all over TV, and just when the games are on at the local bars when I'm DJing, I'm like, I'm paying attention to her, and she's phenomenal. She's amazing. I mean, she was just on Saturday Night Live over the weekend.
Saturday Night Live, she was on. She got drafted tonight, number one. I said, I don't know any of the WNBA teams. I don't know the Smart Shoppers. I don't know where she went. I don't know the names of the teams, but I do know I've seen all this hate coming towards her, and I mean hate. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I thought if we're going to be all inclusive, all this diversity, well, we're holding hands with everybody. Everyone gets a shot. Then where is that garbage coming from? Because the way I look at it, I'm like, are you saying this because like she's an astonishing athlete, but she's like a white heterosexual girl? Is this one? If I'm reading between the lines, this is kind of what you don't like about her. And I'm like, whoa, Snowflake Land, come on here.
Yeah,
we're all friends. We all sing the same songs. Everyone's welcome. All the washrooms. Everyone go to the washroom you want. Whatever one you choose fits you. You just go in there. I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
So where's all this stuff coming from? So guess what? I'm kind of cheering for her. I'm hoping she goes to the league and absolutely lights it up. When she is interviewed, articulate, a great intelligence. There's a dignity to Caitlin Clark. Oh, I wish her all the best luck in the world. And I'll tell you, if you can get me watching women's sports, then it's like
you're onto something. Yeah,
you're onto something. If Bill Burr watched it, because I'm going to find out, because his buddy Joe Bartnick's on my show all the time, and he's probably I'm going to get him on the show. I'm going to say, so just I just want to know, you did watch her though, right? You did watch at least one game, and I think he probably did, because who doesn't? Because she's making
sure. Now, if anyone hasn't seen, Bill Burr has a great bit talking about women's sports, WNBA, just talking about how it doesn't draw crowds, it doesn't draw any kind of money, all this sort of thing. So that's to tie in what you were saying there about Bill Burr, which is it's hysterical what he's saying, and he's not wrong, but
he's not wrong. He's telling the truth. But guess what?
Yeah.
She has moved.
She shifted
needle, which
absolutely.
I think is remarkable, just remarkable.
Yep, absolutely. All right, sir. Michael, I'm going to let you go, man, but thank you again. I appreciate you. I could go on and just repeat what I said before, but I'm honestly appreciative of you being here, and I hope we can keep in touch.
Yes, anytime. You guys need me for something?
You want to come hang out one day, just hang out with the rest of us when we get Simone back and just sit in on a panel, shoot the shit with us? You're more than welcome.
We also, so there's a guy, Jim Behringer, who goes by, I call him Jersey Jim. So he was like, "What do you mean you're going to be on New Jersey? What are you talking about? I mean, I've been down here. I've been on any of our shows, and he's great too. Like, see, that's the whole thing too. And here's the great thing about Jersey Jim. In this day and age, where you only want people they're from Fox, they're from ESPN, they're from TSN, they're Rogers Sportsnet, whatever.
Yeah,
he's none of those things. He's none of those things. He's a real character. In fact, for a while, I said, "You're not like Peter Criss or something, are you? Like, because you look a little disheveled. Did they find you in a dumpster or a ditch somewhere? Because Kiss isn't letting you wear the makeup or something? Like, what's going on with you?" He's just the best dude. Like, he's just the best guy, and he knows what he's talking about. But he doesn't. He's not like a corporate looking guy. So that's the best part of it. I mean, Stern figured that out like 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, don't give me the straights. Don't give me the nerds. Give me the guy. He goes to every game. He's accredited at Devils games. Like, he actually writes on behalf of the NHL. So give me that. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, yeah, we'd love to. I definitely would love to have you come on back sometime. So I'll be reaching out for sure. Definitely.
Anytime, boys. It was a real pleasure. Great to see you. Nice to see you doing well. And Dan, such a beautiful house. So when I'm down in Grimsby, I'm just going to be looking for that grand piano, and
that's it.
The supermodels by the hot tub. Like, I'm just going to look for it.
See, the hot tub I do have.
Yeah.
Right. Oh wait, that's not your real house.
That's the only thing that's real at my house here.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, Mike. Thank you, man. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll talk to you soon for sure.
Yeah.
There he goes, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mike Richards. I meant to ask him too. There was another guy that worked at CKFM also named Mike Richards, and he did the overnight, like the graveyard shift. But because of that, Mike Richards, he had to actually change his name. So he was like Mike Danielson or something like that. I don't remember his last name, what he picked, but yeah, I could talk to him forever. It was nice.
It was much after then that he worked there.
I think it was about the same time, to be honest with you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this Mike Richards we just spoke to was on in the morning. This other guy, Mike Richards, fake Mike Richards, was on the graveyard shift.
Fake.
So he was on from like midnight till 4 or 5 in the morning, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. So anyway, all right. Listen, what's that?
You too, Chris. Have a good one.
Oh, Chris, you got to go. All right. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you being here. Where is Love Bunny? Speaking of which, Chris, thank you, sir. Thank you. Real quick, we were supposed to have Michael Motion on. Unfortunately, we went a little bit long. He had things going on. I don't know if he's going to be able to hop in before we're done, but we'll try and get him back on another time. He's a good dude, and appreciate him for trying. And I apologize. Like I said, I didn't want to interrupt the interview. Unfortunately, he had to go. So anyway, we got some time left. Are you ready, Dan?
I'm ready.
Are the people in the chat ready? It's that time. I'm stalling. All right. You know what it's time for?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
You ready? All right. You know what time it is, everybody?
What time is it?
It's time to see George's backside, everybody. $19.90. I'm always gonna.
I notice I have a little bit of a delay when I hit that.
What happened? Hello, George. How are you?
All right, good to see you again.
Yeah, and so I don't forget. Remind me later to ask you about what happened at the beginning of the show.
Again, I hit it. Is a delay and stopped, and then it started again.
Okay.
And I don't know what happened there. And then
all right. So George, hello, sir. Happy Monday to you. How are you?
I'm excellent. Evening, Dan. Here we are again.
It's good to see you.
Yeah.
So we're going to show everybody George's backside. Now, I know what the backside is, but I got to be honest. If you didn't tell me, I don't think I would know.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so. So we may have to give some clues for your backside.
Okay.
So shout out to everybody in the chat real quick. We got Chris. We got Exquisite. We had, Chris had to go, our moderator.
I kind of forget what the backside was now.
What's that?
I forget what the backside was.
Oh, well, then you're going to be
the right place to find out now.
Yep. And I hope I said this. Was it Esther, Mike's friend Esther, that was watching before? I hope that's the right name. Ashton in the club was here before. He's great. I met him. We were both on Tweak Music Tips together. DJ Vinny Vegas was here earlier throwing out his toothpick. Hello, sir. Virgil was here before as well. Retro Mix Toronto was here. Obviously, he commented and asked a couple of questions. Enlightened was here. Sorry, listen, when we're doing the interviews, I don't like to stray off of the person we're speaking to. I'm not going to do sound effects and do shout outs while we're talking to somebody. It's cool if other people want to do it, but I don't want to do that to our guests. So anyway, I appreciate all you guys that are still here, and we're going to show George's backside now. So yeah, I think I think this is going to be difficult.
Really? Okay.
I think so.
Well, we can give a few clues.
Well, hold on before you show it. On a scale of 1 to 10, George.
Yeah.
How difficult do you think it is?
Well, for me, I don't know. I thought it'd be quite easy, actually.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Can we give hints?
Clues. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So go ahead and show your backside.
I remember what it looks like, but I forget what it. Go ahead.
All right, so what I did with this one, rather than just having blank bits of paper covering because it's a shot of the artists,
yeah,
and that, and just in case anyone starts zooming in, I've got all the song titles.
Yeah.
So just sort of put some visual candy on there this week.
So I got some conflicting numbers here. I'm showing 13 in the StreamYard, 8 on Twitch. So I don't know if people are watching on my Facebook channel or on my YouTube channel, but regardless, the channel. Yeah, this is a difficult one, but I like how you covered it up.
Yeah. Even got a plug-in for myself for tomorrow night.
Ooh, very nice.
The Atomic Ballroom. Switch to Twitch. Get it in now. Get it over with.
Tuesday nights.
Nick, 6 guessing already.
Nick's already given a guess. Now, is this Nick or is it Olivia? Is it Kathy? We don't even know.
The hell is Kathy?
What's his wife's name? Is it Michelle?
Yes.
Shit. Sorry, Michelle. And I've met her too. I'm such a schmuck. Anyway.
What's the guess?
What was his guess?
The guess was ZZ Top.
Ooh.
And Exquisite is guessing Led Zeppelin.
Ooh.
Oh.
You don't have the repeat on, do you? Or are you just hitting the buzzer over?
I'm just hitting it. Yeah, I'm just hitting it.
I liked your Instagram post today, by the way.
Mine?
No, Olivia's.
Oh, Olivia's. Oh, I didn't see it. I got to follow them. All right. So let's give out some hints here.
1978. 1978.
Hi, Olivia. 1978. Okay.
Big album. Yeah.
I'm going to give a pretty big hint.
Actually, you know what's funny about this? It's actually got a Juno Award, believe it or not. I was reading up on it. In 1980 as International Album of the Year.
Interesting.
Really?
And that'll really throw everybody off the scent. I thought that was crazy.
Was it by any chance Night Flight to Venus, Boney M?
Who's asking that?
Jason One out in Calgary, coming in hot, late, but he's still here.
Right.
Is it Boney M's? What is it? What was the name of the album? What do you say?
Night Flight to Venus, I think he said.
Is what he said.
That's
Oh,
impressive.
He's sorry pants, isn't he?
I didn't think it was that difficult, actually.
I mean, if you know it, it's not hard. Pause.
Yeah, well, I guess I would know, right? There's a
Yeah.
Rasputin. It's on this. That was a DJ staple for about 15 years, like the whole of the 80s and into the early 90s. Right? That's on here.
I see what you did.
He did a wedding in the 80s. There was always that guy who went, with his beer in his hand, going, "Can you play Rasputin?" And then they'd be doing it.
I was actually shocked when I watched the Milli Vanilli documentary that came out not long ago, that the gentleman that started up Milli Vanilli was the guy that started up Boney M and was also the vocalist for this guy.
Yeah, he's got vocal credits. Frank Farian was his name, or is his name.
Yeah. I had no idea. He's been doing the lip sync thing for years.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep. Well,
Jason,
they were
I'm curious how you knew that one too. Like, did you have the album, Jason, or how did you know this one?
Yeah, he said he just took a look at it and I knew it.
Yeah.
Once again, that's impressive, Jason.
Well, the actual funny thing about this is that on the album, the credits, or if you look at the credits, if you Google them and look at the album, there's only two of these, the actual group that we used to know as Boney M, didn't get any credit for vocals.
Really?
Yeah. So he's always into his studio jobs, I think, Frank. The records were great. I love Milli Vanilli.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate, but I thought the records, playing them at the time was amazing.
I was just floored that guy's been lip syncing and faking it for years for people. Frank Fabian, he did pass away. That's right.
Okay.
So did OJ, by the way. Just throwing that out there. We all know he did. Come on. Anyway, how long ago did Frank Fabian? In fact, thank you, Dan. That is a fun fact. Frank Fabian recently passed away, though, like a couple months ago. No,
it rings a bell. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was only a couple of months ago.
Yeah, a couple of other groups. One was Eruption, was another one. I think the girl from that used to sing. Yeah.
Only Eruption I know is Eddie Van Halen's Eruption.
Oh, yeah.
It's the only one I know. Well, that's I'm impressed. Jason actually got that. He says he's got that one. So in his collection, there you have it.
Yeah. I've seen them live actually back in 79. I think it was 78. Yeah.
I always remember Brown Girl in the Ring. Tra la 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 la.
Yeah.
That was always the first Boney M song I remember.
Yeah.
Of course,
that's on there.
And then I was always fascinated by Rasputin, just because of the story that goes. But I don't know if it's a true story or if it was folklore or whatever you want to call it. But
I'm going to ask you, what's the story?
You don't know about Rasputin?
Well,
you have the song? Do you have the song, Dan?
Of course. What's the story? Why do you want me to play the song?
Play a little bit of the song. Listen to the lyrics.
Play the song. Okay.
Night Flight to Venus is an underrated track.
It's a pretty cool track, actually.
Very Giorgio Moroder.
Yeah.
Jason is a lot gooder musically knowledgeable than I give him credit for.
Actually, talking to Giorgio Moroder there, I was talking about him this weekend with somebody, Barry, and I was listening to a Sparks album, or two albums that he did produce for Sparks. Anyway, that's nerd talk.
I apologize for my poor grammar there, Jason, by the way. I got to give you more credit for your musical knowledge is what I was trying to say. Rasputin.
So far, the only lyrics I hear is "Hey, hey," and it's not much of a story guy.
There lived a certain man in Russia long ago. He was big and strong, and his eyes a flaming glow. As people look at him with terror, with their fear.
I think that's Frank Farian there, actually, that's doing that.
Right, yeah.
Because the guy that does it on the videos or used to do it on stage is Bobby, whatever. It wasn't him.
That guy had great hair, the guy that was actually on stage.
Yeah, he died a few years ago, too, yeah.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Long story short, they tried to kill him several times and nothing they did worked.
That's right.
That's the abbreviated version.
So they couldn't kill him.
Yeah.
He was untouchable.
Russians. Yeah.
Listen. Yeah.
But why is it a shame that he carried on? What was so wrong with him?
He was the lover of the Russian queen.
Yeah.
They loved each other.
I don't know. He was Russia's greatest love machine. Sounds like Jason won.
So he was a player.
He was a player because it was a shame how
They couldn't kill him. He was possessed or whatever it was. Yeah.
But his drinking and lusting and his hunger for power became became known to more and more people.
Yeah.
The demands to do something about this outrageous man became louder and louder. So they're saying this
now Jason's just
got to go. Declared his enemies. Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
Well, there's a track on here called Rivers of Babylon, which was #1 in the UK.
Great song.
Yeah.
And Brown Girl in the Ring was the B-side of that.
Oh, I did not know that.
And then it got to #1. They were huge in the UK and Europe. And what happened was it got played on the radio. The B-side got played on the radio. And people went out buying Brown Girl in the Ring, which they already had on the B-side of the A-side. And it went back up the charts as a double A-side. Yeah.
Interesting. I got a little fun fact.
Yeah,
back in those good old days.
Yeah.
Fun fact: Sublime covers "Rivers of Babylon." Fun fact.
Oh, okay.
There you go. There it is. Got the fun fact up there. Our budget is through the roof. One of the first few songs I actually learned on guitar is "Rivers of Babylon" by Sublime. Yeah. They put their little reggae spin on it. It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already reggae-ish.
That's a cover. Rivers of Babylon is an old reggae song from the 60s.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Boney M, that's also a cover, yes.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Jason didn't tell us that already.
You probably thought we knew it.
Yeah, schmuck. All right. Well, that's there we go. That was your backside. So I appreciate you doing that, Georgia boy. Thank you very much.
Problem. Talking of covers, I think, did we mention it? We did Blondie a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But what was the one she did that was like a reggae track? Tide is High.
Tide is High. Yep.
That was a cover from a 60s reggae song as well. I didn't know that for years.
Yeah, I knew it was a cover. I don't know who did it, but it's funny because you hear bands like Choots and the Maytag doing songs. Yeah. You're like, oh, I heard so and so do. Like, you don't realize that that's who actually.
It's a cover version. Melodians, I think it was that did Tide is High. The original. There you go. Useless information.
All right.
No, it's not useless information. I was just looking to see if I had something there. It's a fun fact.
Oh, there you go.
That's right. Jason's hanging speakers. Well, I'm glad you're hanging speakers and not yourself, Jason. So.
Oh, dude.
Because he matters. I'm just saying. Listen, you guys want to do this day in musical history while we're all here? Just all right. Let's do this day in music history. That's a little bit loud, right? It is a little loud, isn't it?
It woke up the chat. It woke up the chat.
Oh, we got to keep those people awake.
RT46 just went off the road, but it's okay.
That's all right. Grab the wheel, Olivia. Forget about Jesus. You take the wheel.
Just take the.
All right. On this day in 2001, starting off with a nice little depressing fun fact. Punk pioneer Joey Ramone, real name Jeff Ross Hyman, singer of the Ramones, passed away after losing a long battle with lymphatic cancer, age 49. Fun fact, I've been to his gravesite. It's in a town called Lyndhurst, New Jersey, which is about 15 minutes away from me. I've been to his gravesite. It's amazing. People because he is of Jewish descent, people put the rocks on. I'm not even going to make a joke. Literally, they put their rocks on. There's dolls. There's like Joey Ramone dolls. People put like articles of clothes. It's amazing. It's like a shrine. It's very, very cool. So if you're ever in Lyndhurst, New Jersey, go check out Jeffrey Hyman, aka Joey Ramone's gravesite. In 1996, Rob Pilatus, speaking of Boney M, Milli Vanilli singer Rob Pilatus, I hope I said his name correctly, was jailed for 90 days in Los Angeles by a judge for 3 violent attacks and a parole violation. So there you go. Fun fact.
I don't think I ever heard that. I don't think I ever.
96. You're probably busy, Dan. And then going back to 1966, the one and only Samantha Fox was born on this day in 1966.
She's so
That's music history right there.
I mean,
Yeah.
come on. Like,
She had the 1986 UK #3 single "Touch Me, I Want Your Body."
Yeah.
such a great song.
And she married a chick, so much for all that sex appeal. I mean, I'm not saying she wasn't sexy, but I was totally floored when I found out she married a female.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I didn't know it either.
Google it. Should have been at Lilith Fair. I'm just saying.
Right.
Did I
Well,
say
you learn so much on here.
You know what, Dan? That would be a fun fact, wouldn't it?
I'm going back. I'm behind my music. You got to hit the fun fact.
Fun fact. There you go. Seriously.
Can I tell you what song I liked more than "Touch Me"?
Go for it.
I absolutely loved. Remember this one from Smith?
Naughty Girls Need Love Too.
Yeah.
See, that's what she was saying.
Even if they play on the other team. Didn't she do a song with Full Force?
With who?
Full Force, the same group that Lisa did a song with? Or was it just Lisa that did a song with Full Force? Jason, put your speakers away and answer my question.
I don't know.
I
don't know. Jason's got to answer that one for sure.
All right. Well, it's 10:30. I got to go just because I'm exhausted. I've been up really early in the morning today. I can't even speak right. I got up real early this morning.
Samantha Fox really freestyle? Are you putting her in
freestyle?
What was the cover version she did of something? What was that one? I remember.
She did a cover?
Something, yeah.
She also did. Samantha Fox also did this one here. She also did. Where are we?
Oh yeah.
That's the one. I knew there was something in there that she covered.
Yeah.
Originally Dusty Springfield and the Bay City Rollers.
Yes, that's right. Bay City Rollers, SATUR.
Yeah. I only want to be with you. Oh, the Eurythmics did it as well, didn't they?
That's right.
Yeah.
It's all coming back to me now.
That's it. Touch me like this. That's what happens. Listen, hey.
Are you searching for something, guy? You are stalling this song. I was gonna say. If you're stalling, I'm gonna play this part again. Listen to this part of the song. Tell me what this sounds like. That part there. You know what it reminds me of?
A Christmas song?
No. This part here. Listen. That part there, that reminds me of. I gotta find the song because I forget the singer. Oh, if Simone was here and she heard me say that,
she would know.
Oh, she would kill me.
We miss Simone.
Reminds me of.
Oh yeah.
Who does the original here? I don't know what this friggin' version is that I just pulled up here.
Play the one you just played for a second, because now it's in my head.
There we go.
Ottawa.
Yes.
Ottawa. Capital of Ontario, or Canada, isn't it? Do you remember the dance to that one?
There was a dance to it? No.
Yeah, there were some moves. Yeah, whatever. For kids.
What the heck are you doing?
There's a little. You do it for the kids. You clap from. I don't. That's why I don't do like school parties anymore.
Yeah.
Dan, I wish you get your passport and I'd have you DJ my kid's Sweet 16 party.
I'll bring the 360 booth too, guy.
Dude, seriously. I didn't finish that story, but anyway. Yeah. Talk about it offline. Anyway, all right. So listen, we're going to raid into a channel that's got only about, I don't know, 8 viewers more than we do, or less than we do. So DJ Fast Tracks, I follow and listen to every now and then, playing music videos and stuff. Go in, say hi, follow him, let him know that we raided over. We'll be back next week. Simone is still away. She's in the UK doing her touring, doing her thing. But she'll be back in May. I don't know. What's up, Love Bunny? I appreciate you being here. I don't know who or what we have scheduled for next week. Let me take a look. Hold on. I'm still working on Russell Peters. And I'm not saying to just to blow smoke, but he's ooh, I might have my kid's spring concert next week.
Oh,
We'll see. I'll find out. I'll let you know. I think I do, yeah. I mean, so we may not have a show next week. That's just great.
All right.
Anyway, so let's rate out to DJ Fast Tracks. I've got it all ready to go. Keep an eye out on the Instagram, DJ Staples93 for show updates. Exquisite, thank you for being here. Also, there's a link on my Twitch page if you want to buy merchandise. It's bonfire.com/DJ Staples93 merch. Hoodies, t-shirts. Shout out to Captain Jack Tastic. Thank you. Great quality t-shirt. I got the idea from this guy, so follow Captain Jack Tastic here on the Twitch. George, tomorrow night, 10:30,
10 p.m.
right?
10 p.m. See you then. Drop in, tune out.
That's
Get out
it.
of that rut and into the groove. You might not hear it there, but we're just might play it here. Yeah.
amazing.
Do all that stuff.
That's the way to do it, Georgie boy.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you. I'm going to start the raid now.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank
Take
you.
care, guys. Take care, guys.
Thank you, George. We'll see you next week, maybe. We'll let you know.
All right. You got
Be
my
good.
number.
Keep playing it. Keep playing it. We're going to raid.
Take care, all.
Bye. Are we doing what are we doing?
You rated, but you didn't do the. I think you were going to do the closeout credits.
All right, goodbye.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.